Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's tutorial, we're going to be learning how to draft, cut, and sew this beautiful dress you're seeing right here. If this is something you're interested to learn, keep on watching and let's get started. So I'm going to mark the bust point and the under bust plus the half length of this dress. This is for my client. Her bust point is 11 inch, her under bust is 14 and a half, the half length is 17 plus 1 inch sewing allowance, that is 18 inch. After marking, I rule out a straight line across, then I also label as well after that. So the first line will serve as the bust point, under bust, and waistline. The next thing I did was to place my tape from the shoulder. I will come down by her chest line. Her chest line is 8 inch and this will also serve as her armhole depth. I'm going to connect like so and I'll label as chest line. On the shoulder line, I'll mark half of her shoulder measurement, do the same thing on the chest line, then connect the 2 points like so. Then I'm also going to come down by 1 inch for shoulder slope, and again I'll mark 3.5 inch for neck width, and I'll connect the shoulder slope to the neck width like so. I'll use my curve ruler to connect the armhole curve just this way. Okay, next thing you want to do is to mark half of your nipple to nipple. So my client nipple to nipple is 7 inch, half of it is 3.5. After marking, I'll rule out a straight line from the chest line to the waistline or to the half length just this way. On the part going towards the center front, I went in by half an inch on the under bust and on the waistline. I will connect like so. So if you're plus size, you can mark 3/4 of an inch. So on this other side, I went out by 1.5 inch on the under bust and on the waistline, and I connected in a straight line like so. So I'll place my curve rule and I will connect my cup from the bust point to the under bust just this way. You can also achieve this using your free hand. Now that I'm done with this, next thing I want to do is to place my tape from the shoulder, and I'm going to determine how high or low I want the neckline to be. So I want to make use of 6.5 inch for the neckline. After connecting a straight line across, I'll label as new chest line and I'll extend the half of nipple to nipple line like so. I'll also subtract half an inch on both sides of the new chest line. This will serve as the overbust tightening. Okay, so once I'm done with that, next thing I want to do is to come down by 4 inch for the neck depth of the front. So when I place my curve ruler, I said to end it at 3.5 inch. That means I ended up using 3.5 inch for the neck depth of the front. So I placed my curve rule like so, and I want to connect the sweetheart neckline. So from the new chest line, I connected to the old chest line, but I left half inch above where the sweetheart neckline stopped. Okay, from the shoulder, I had 7.5 inch in total for the neck. You get. So the next thing I did was to mark quarter of the bust measurement. Then I added extra 1 inch for seam allowance and replaced the dart. Okay, so at the waistline, I'm going to mark quarter of the waist measurement. I'll replace the dart. What I have there is 2 inch, and also add the seam allowance as well. I'll connect from the chest line to the waistline like so. Then now that I'm done with this, next thing I want to do now is to go down by 2 inch from the bust point. So this will serve as the bust dart. I'll connect from that point to the bust point like so. Then after that, I'll cut it out. Okay, so watch how I'm cutting this so you don't cut yours on the right part. So if you watched to this point, kindly hit on the subscribe button. You can appreciate me by hitting on the subscribe button. So I've cut the yoke and I'm also cutting the dart for the other side. After cutting, I'll close up the bust dart like so. Okay, is either you close it up with a sellotape, masking tape, or your pin, but I choose to close it like so, and you can see the excess I have there. I'll just trim it out just this way. I'll label here as the yoke. This is the side front and this is the center front. Okay, so after cutting, this was what I had. Our front pattern paper is set. I'm going to cut the back. For the back, it's the same 18 inch that I'm going to mark at first. Remember I said the half length was 17 plus 1 inch sewing allowance. So I marked 18 inch. Then I'll connect a straight line across here. I'll also mark my zipper allowance. What I have there was 1.5 inch. And from the shoulder line, I went down by 8 inch. I already told you guys that the 8 inch is for the chest line or the armhole depth. So after connecting a straight line, I'll label as chest line, waistline, and shoulder line. So I'll mark half of the shoulder measurement right after the zipper allowance. Then I'll connect like so. After connecting, I'll use my curve ruler to make the armhole curve. Just connect your armhole curve like so. Then on the shoulder, I went down by 1 inch. Then I'll use it for the shoulder slope. I marked 3.5 inch for the neck width, and I'll connect from the shoulder slope to the neck width just this way. And for the neck depth of the back piece, I went down by 2 inch. Then I'll connect a round neckline using my curve rule. You will place your curve rule like so, then connect from that point to the neck depth. Okay. So after that, you are going to mark half of your nipple to nipple again. It was 3.5. After marking, I connected in a straight line like so. Then I had to subtract half an inch on both sides. This will serve as normal dart intake. Okay. So after connecting, the next thing you want to do is to include your body measurement. So I marked quarter of the bust measurement. There is no dart, so I had to add just 1.58 for seam allowance. At the waistline, I marked quarter of the waist measurement. That included the dart, and I'll complete the seam allowance when cutting on the actual fabric. Okay. So now that I'm done with this, I'm going to cut from the armhole to the shoulder line, and I'll cut the neck width as well. So while I was filming this tutorial, I didn't notice my camera stopped recording. It was after doing this that I noticed. So what I did was to place the front pattern. I placed the front yoke at the back yoke, and I had to, mark out the edge, and I had to connect from that point to my chest line. You get in a slant manner like so. Next thing I did was to place the side front, and I had to trace the armhole because I want it exactly the same. I traced the armhole, and I also traced the down part. Okay. So from that point, I measured what I have. It was 1.5 inch. I'll mark it here. Then I'll use it to connect a straight line. Okay. So reason for this excess is because I took out the bust dart for while drafting on the front pattern. I took out 2 inch for bust dart. So that's why I had this excess. You can make your desired yoke. Okay. If you don't want this type of yoke, you can make any yoke of your choice. It's optional. So I'll label here as back yoke. Then this is zip allowance. For the zipper broadness, I took it out of camera. You already know how to do that if you have been following my channel. So from the shoulder to what I have there on the half length was just 16.5 inch. And when transferring to the actual fabric, I won't be adding any stitching allowance at the hem part again. It's just on the stitching allowance side. So I've gone ahead transfer to the actual fabric. As you can see, have cut the lining, have cut the net for the yoke, and I also notched the underbust of the front piece. Okay. So this was what I had after I was done. The next thing I did was to cut the wording I'll be using for this dress. Like I'll be padding the bust area. So you can see what I have here. Your wording needs to stop exactly on the underbust of your boat piece. That is the front. Okay. So your wording needs to stop exactly at the underbust. Okay. Also leave at least 3/4 of an inch on the upper part. Okay. And make sure it's this size. It depends on your bust though. So guys, in my next tutorial, I will share with you guys on how to sew this beautiful dress, the finishing part and all of that. So if you don't want to miss that, hit on subscribe button so YouTube will notify you once it's done.